What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to an episode of the Reel Junkies. I'm your host, Ferran, here again with my man Vito. And today, reviewing a franchise that I'm pretty sure probably should have stopped a while ago, but is still going, and that is Karate Kid Legends. Um, I'm of the mindset that there are certain film franchises that we've gotten enough of, and that we really just need to just let it fizzle out. Looking at you, Jurassic Park. Looking at you, Final Destination. Also looking at you, Fast and Furious.
Watch your
But
mouth, dog.
those are all
You did that
separate
on purpose. You
conversations from
ain't you ain't
here.
need to go that extra mile, dog.
I did. But also, I'm also open to being wrong, also, because that was my perception going into this movie, was that it wasn't needed. And while I still feel it wasn't really needed, I don't think it was bad. So I feel less inclined to hate on it because of that, even though I still feel like it wasn't needed. So I'll let you go ahead and give some of your initial thoughts before I go too deep into it. But I will say just a few tidbits. I definitely liked the way this tied in the Karate Kid world. It didn't just feel like they were doing it just to do it. It definitely felt like they were adding to the story at least. So that I appreciated.
So me and you grew up in different eras, man. So like the Karate Kid movies that I watched I watched one, two, and three a little sooner than you watched them. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the Karate Kid, the one with Jaden Smith, because I
Hmm.
don't really remember. I just remember niggas hating it. I don't remember the movie that well. Uh, I'll go back and watch it to see if the hate stands up or if it's just misdirected because niggas love to shit on things that are fresh from
Yeah.
what they had before.
Hmm.
Um, I was kind of disappointed in this movie, to be honest with you. I was excited for it to come out, um, and I think that Cobra Kai, which is the spinoff and continuation of the Karate Kid movies, was the perfect way to is if they're going to end this to end this.
Hmm.
I don't think this movie was a great ending. I don't know if they plan on moving forward with this. I felt like it was really weak, especially when you had such a strong. I believe it was 4 or 5 seasons of Cobra Kai. It was such a strong 4 or 5 seasons. Each season was amazing. Um, you had Bill Zaxput back. You had Ralph Macchio back. You had whatever his name is. I can forget his last name. But they brought back so many characters from the original um, Karate Kid movies.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing. Trying to remember the young lady's name that was in three.
I'm gonna be real, I haven't seen three, so I'm not sure.
I've seen all of them. I just don't remember her name. She's a big actor now.
I will
Uh,
say for this film, like to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying though,
Not three.
I don't
Hillary
I
Swank.
Henry Swank, okay,
Hillary
yeah.
Swank. I'm saying, and it
Hillary
wasn't
Swank.
three. It was four. And
Hillary
I say
Swank,
that.
okay, okay.
I don't remember seeing her in Cobra Kai, and I say that, and I got you. I seen you was about to say something, and I say that to say, man, because it was amazing. Like it had the
Hmm.
nostalgia, you have the updated feel. A lot of movies that we get that were remade or continuations of older movies, sometimes it just feels a lot of movies weren't that were made at the time. They only stand up at the time.
Yeah.
This one still stood up. I mean, they kind of refocused it well by focusing on Cobra Kai and 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 eventually got back to Danny, who's I forget names so fucking much, but the last season was so fucking good. They broke it up in parts, and that should have been a movie itself. I think what they did here, why I love them introducing Jackie Chan or reintroducing Jackie Chan because he was in the Karate Kid with
Hmm.
Jaden Smith, or Jaden Smith was in the Karate Kid with him. But I didn't like the tie-in that much. I feel
Yeah.
like there should have been. I feel like the tie-in should have been a little bit more. Once I finish my points for the tie-in. I'm gonna let you finish your next point because I have other things I feel about this, but it felt kind of forced. It felt really forced by
Yeah,
them
I can see
bringing
that.
by him going to get Danny
Hmm.
Russo and bringing him to New York to train this kid to fight within fucking. I mean, it wasn't. It's in within like 10 days,
It was like 10 days.
but then
That's
they
what made it
also
feel
keep.
forced.
Well, they also kept
Yeah.
training during like the fights weren't like right after each other. So I did like that
Yeah.
part. So the
Yeah.
fights were a couple days after each other, or maybe a week after each other. But
Hmm.
it just like I said, it felt forced, and I feel like they could have did without having him in the movie. But I think from the success of Cobra Kai, they felt like they needed him, and they felt like they needed Bill Zaxpa or Zach. I don't have to start writing people's names down because I'm terrible at this shit. Uh, um,
Oh, William
but
Zachba, you talking about
William Zaxpa,
yeah,
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 he
yeah.
plays
Little
Johnny.
Johnny.
So even the end credits that had him in it for the fucking 15 seconds, like
That was definitely forced.
it forced as fuck. Like everything about it felt forced. That's just my point on the connections, and
Hmm.
I'll let you hit whatever next point you want to hit, and I'll play off that.
Yeah, I think that I agree that there were points where the connections felt forced. I do feel like though the way after they kind of forced those people into the story, the way they utilized them once they were there, I thought worked at least for
They
me.
flowed. No,
It flowed
I agree with you.
because the motivations
Once
made
they were
sense, right?
together,
Once they
once
were
they were
together,
together,
them getting together felt forced. I
yeah,
agree
that was
with you
stupid.
there. It felt very forced. But once they were there and you got to see, Daniel LaRusso play off Mr. Han, Jackie Jan's
Yeah,
character, and you saw
yeah.
that it worked when they were together. So that's why I was like, I let it slide. But I agree, the path to what got us here didn't feel natural and didn't feel organic to the story at all. So we're definitely in agreement there. I think with this film, what makes it feel, I guess, disappointing is kind of going back to my original point of it wasn't really needed, right? Like, I think at this point, the Karate Kid franchise has been around since 1984, is when the first film was released. So I'm always of the mindset with franchises like this, especially when it's one where you're releasing a distant sequel from what was released before. Because I think The Karate Kid with Jaden Smith was like 2010 or 2011, if I'm not mistaken. So even that
Um,
film is pretty far back from this release right here,
2010.
2010, right?
So
So
what? 15 years later.
you know what I'm saying? It's enough time to where, like, I feel like if you are going to build on that story, then it needs to be something impactful and something that really drives forward, and a story that is like, we actually have more story to tell here. This didn't really feel like that. While it wasn't terrible, like, I don't think this movie's terrible. It's not, just completely unwatchable or anything like that. It was just very mid. And for you to continue a franchise like this, I'm kind of looking for more than mid if you're going to attach the Karate Kid name to it and, try to give this franchise more life and continue it.
It could have
I
been
would
named
have,
something else.
yeah, like this could have just been anything else, but you put Karate Kid on it. So now I'm like, well, okay, now we're going to be driving the story forward somehow and doing something that'll elevate, what's already been done. And I haven't seen Cobra Kai, but
That
similar
look
to what you
excellent.
said, everyone I know who's watched Cobra Kai raves about it. They talk about how amazing of a show it is. So if indeed, I can't comment on it myself because I haven't seen it, but if it
Oh,
is
that doesn't
indeed,
stop you from talking about the Marvels.
I just said I don't want to watch the Marvels. I'm not commenting on the quality of the movie. That's different. I'm not. I'm not.
This
I'm not
fucking
saying whether
guy.
it's good or bad. I don't know if it's good
Get
or
this
bad.
guy out of
I'm just
here.
saying I have no interest in it. That's all I'm saying. But I am going to watch it at some point, just
Okay.
because I am. I am.
They
I'm
don't
going to
agree
knock it
with
out
you. They don't
eventually.
believe you, dog. It's not.
Y'all don't
So,
believe me all you want.
what I do want to say is, um, I think we have different reasonings for feeling how we feel about this
Yeah.
movie, but
Yeah.
we feel about the same. And
Yeah.
one thing that it felt like to me was it felt like what was the last movie review? And I said it felt like it was a bunch of different movies going on at the same time.
Ooh wee.
It wasn't Mission Impossible.
This
Um,
does feel like that though.
but I didn't feel like it was a bunch of different movies, but I felt like it was at least two.
Yeah.
Honestly,
The pace goes like this in this movie a little bit at times.
right, so like I said that before, like I don't mind the slow pacing of this movie. I kind of minded the slow pacing of this movie because there was a lot that we went through before we got to see some fucking karate. Um, I and I guess that's the why they bring Daniel Rand, Daniel Larusso in.
Different kung fu. Very different
Is
kung fu.
because it is right there because what Jackie Chan's Sifu Han is teaching is kung fu.
Hmm.
What Danny teaches is karate.
Karate. Yeah.
So I understand that part, but like I said, it was forced. I felt like we should have seen fucking Jaden Smith in here to bridge it a little more.
I'm content not
Um,
saying that.
See, everybody is, but I just feel like
I don't
let's
see how
finish
he
the
would have
story,
fit in this story,
bro.
honestly.
He could have been doing anything because again, uh, I like the story, and I'm sorry, I don't mean the entire story. I mean the backstory. You
Hmm.
know, the reason he doesn't want to fight.
Oh,
You know,
Lee. Yeah. Anything
it,
bad I say about this movie is not about Lee. Lee
but
was a great protagonist.
but
Like he did
it's
his
kind
thing.
of it's kind of weird because he's still actively training kung
Yeah.
fu. So like
Yeah.
now he's in this position. He's gotten into several fights, but now it's like he's freezing up now. He's freezing up
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Like I said, the two different movies. I'm gonna say we start with him training old girl's dad, Victor. I don't even remember
Hmm.
her name. Like, was it Mia?
Mia. Yeah.
Okay. He's training her dad to fight, and I'm looking at him like, okay, okay, okay. And then that's when it stops. He's like, Jackie Chan comes in, hey, friend's problem, your problem. Nigga, no, it is. I mean, I agree. You don't want to help your friends, but nigga,
I was
what?
about to say, damn.
Nigga, what? He did they give him all that money? Because what? And then you opened a second store, nigga. You could barely keep the first one afloat. Why would you open a second one? How the fuck
the
is that?
the magical money you got from this underground kung fu
That
karate tournament.
listen, I'm about to tell you right this. $50,000 is not about to build you a whole store in Detroit. It's not buying you a second store and paying a nigga money back. Which if he's sending niggas to beat you in the head with baseball bats, you owe more than $10,000. You're not opening a new store in New York City, my
In New
nigga.
York, with 50 bands, he paid off his debt and opened up a new store. Yes, because the
So
plot said so.
so so like I said, you got we running with two plots right here. It's his fight against overcoming his fear that would happen the night his brother died,
Hmm.
and the him overcoming Connor, which oh my fucking god, dude, this kid was a fucking dickhead.
Yeah,
Like
he sucked, but he's not even really the biggest gripe I have about the villains in this movie. It's his like dojo mat. What was his name? O'Shea or something like that.
uh,
I did
nigga,
not like
why?
that character.
Honestly, bro,
And
they
not
should have
on
just.
some like he's a villain, I'm not supposed to like him type deal. Like, no, I actually just don't like that character and the way he's portrayed.
I didn't
Because
like the
this nigga was like
character. I didn't
half
like the way
mafia
he.
boss and
Yeah,
half dojo instructor. It's like, what the
like when
fuck?
they when he got into the fight. So this is gonna carry over to one of my points
Hmm.
when he's boxing at the gym, and then he's Victor's winning, and he
Hmm.
like nods at the guy, and the guy just like cheats. So I mean,
Yeah,
at that point, bro, you're disqualified. You can't do the shit that you did. You
yeah.
hit him with multiple elbows.
Elbows.
One, I was trying to figure out why the nigga ain't duck. If you seen the fist coming, you seen the elbow coming. But duck, nigga. But then the refs, which is my second point, the refs in this movie were fucking terrible. They just
Yeah.
let shit
They
happen.
just let it go like, oh, what you just did
Yeah.
is illegal, but you win the fight though.
And
What?
then he pushed him off and then punched him while he's on the ground. And niggas was again, anywhere you at, even if it's an unsanctioned fight like that, bro. No, they not letting that shit slide because you fucking up everybody else's money. And you don't do that when you gambling,
Yeah.
especially illegal niggas. And then it was one other fight where this happened, but also I actually got a gripe with all the adults in the movie too. But
You have a
at the
gripe with all the adults in the movie.
the last fight when Connor goes to attack Lee, and the ref is just like, oh. and he actively like kicks him into the ref. Like they do so much shit in this movie where a ref is stopping this fight at this point. You lost. You're
Yeah,
disqualified for the shit that you're doing. And when I say my problem with the adults is, nigga, Connor was fucking them up. You telling me all you other niggas is black belts? Like full ass grown adults. Y'all all black belts. I'm trying no telling how long y'all been training. And you letting this nigga that's 16, 17 years old punk you. He kicked the nigga out and then like pump the nigga. He's like, oh, like what the fuck? What's going on here, bro? Like, it, and he wasn't a big guy. Like the guy that he jumped at was bigger than him.
yeah,
Like, come, let's. I mean, I understand. Like, I enjoy the fight scenes in there. I feel like there weren't that many fight scenes, but some of these matchups, I mean, they went overboard some of these times. Like I said, Connor and all these adults that he was just beating the shit out of and punking was it was kind of it was just insane, to be honest with you. And you letting him punk your he's punking your instructors like that. He should be an instructor. Why the fuck is he still a student?
yeah. At this point, no, I one thing as far as because even Connor was a very just one note asshole type of
He was a waste of a
villain,
character.
right? Like he wasn't to me a compelling character at all.
No,
And the only thing like that and to me Connor's actually very forgettable as a character in this movie to me, other than the
actually,
fact that he has so much screen time.
all of the villains are, to be honest with you. Like you said, even
They
O'Shea.
are, but the thing that makes O'Shea memorable is how much his presence pissed me off and the way his character was being portrayed, right? Because it's like, because it was just
Here go this nigga
the
again,
way this
dog.
character was talked about, bro. Because even Victor was like, "Yeah, I owe some money to some people you don't want to owe money to." I'm like, bro, this nigga owns a dojo and is
No,
training kids. Like, who is he?
that's what
Who
I
is he?
said, bro. When he said
Who
that
is
shit,
this
I'm
nigga?
like,
Who do y'all
and,
think he is, bro?
and your daughter talking crazy to the nigga like that,
I'm
and
like,
you, and,
bro.
bro. First of all, you owe me money, nigga. Tell your daddy to pull up.
You
Like,
feel me? Like, no, that to me that was just a very weird story angle that they had throughout this whole movie of Victor owing money to these people.
mm-hmm.
And then obviously they're, sending people to beat him up. They're doing all types of shady shit. And it's just like I get it. They're supposed to be bad people. I get that's the point of this. You know what I'm saying? It's dojo. It's the same trope as the first movie. A dojo that teaches kids aggression and doesn't really teach kids how to, properly fight or how to properly hone their skills. They're just teaching rage and victory, essentially, right? That part I get as far as Karate Kid villain types. Y'all trying to like teeter the line of making him like a pseudo mob boss type
Yeah,
deal. That's where it kind of stopped becoming believable to me, and where it
his
became a
motivation behind him doing what he's
yeah, it
doing
became
is the
very cartoonish for me at that point. Once y'all started venturing into that territory, because it's like, what are we
be,
doing here?
because, like you said, John Kreese in the first one, he's a Vietnam vet, and
Hmm.
that's how he came up. Just that ruthless aggression
It
type
made sense for
fucking,
the character.
and it made sense. And he was just an asshole, to be honest with you. He was a
Yeah,
legit asshole. He, I'm sure it's a lot of niggas that were born in that time and came up in that time that had family members that were Vietnam vets because they didn't have proper treatment and they behaved like that. The only difference between this nigga was this nigga wasn't a drunk. He wasn't strung out.
no facts.
He got off on training people to he wanted them to hurt other people. His
Yeah,
his martial arts was not meant to be training kids. And
yeah,
like you said, it made sense. But now we got this pseudo mob boss that's fucking, just hurting people because one, yeah, you said you bet money on this guy. How much money were you going to win? Were you going to win more money than you were going to get back if he won? I mean, it was a
like
it
yeah.
just didn't make sense. It was like, how much did you bet on him? Did you bet the?
Enough to get him to cheat and had the ref turn the other way. Apparently, I
Yeah,
don't
and
I don't
again,
get
I
it.
I want to know how much money he loaned. He was loaned. It makes no fucking sense. It makes absolutely zero fucking sense. Like you said, everybody's motivation in a fucking in the movie was dumb. I think the mom was the smartest character. Um, which
Yeah, Shout out to
Say her name. Say her
Dr.
name.
Fong. We'll call her Dr. Fong because I'm not gonna attempt to pronounce that actress's name.
I was trying to say because she also plays
She's in a few
oh
things
Ming
nerd
Ming
wise.
Na Wen. She
Yeah,
plays
she
Finnick in The Mandalorian,
Mandalorian. She's in Agents
which
of
is a
Shield.
Agents of Shield, which is Star
Yeah,
Wars
so
fan.
she's
So she getting
we've
that
seen
Disney
her in a few
money, and now
properties.
she getting that Sony money. Who's connected to Spider Man? I actually love the call back to that when they said they said something like,
When they
"Okay,
called him, when
Spider."
they called Lee the Chinese Peter Parker, I was like, I ain't gonna lie,
Yeah.
that's tough.
So, like I said, I really did. I don't know what they were doing with the story. It was just niggas just got tired because it starts off this, and then it stops, and then it ends this. But the action scenes in the movie were amazing, especially the one where he was fighting the three or four guys that beat up Victor.
With Lee fighting them in the alley, I like that scene actually.
I just felt like it wasn't that many action scenes. It wasn't even that many
Yeah,
training scenes as you would see in
that's
a
where
regular
my
movie.
gripe comes because, right, granted, one thing this movie did well was they gave Lee like a base, right? So like he's already coming into this movie having some sort of fighting training. It's
Mm-hmm.
not karate, but he knows how to fight already. So it makes it a little more believable when, Danny Russo shows up and you have 10 days to train him to
And
do
he
karate.
he mentions that too after he sees what he does. He
Yeah,
said,
like it
"Okay,
makes
we
it
can."
believable that, well, okay, this character isn't starting from ground zero like Danny was in the original film, right? Like he has some level of fighting experience. So that makes it believable. In the same breath, though, I don't like that setup with in terms of the way they decided to go about doing that. Like it felt very rushed and shoehorned because you spent most of the movie, to the film's credit, because these are parts of the film that I thought were executed very well, of focusing on the relationship between Lee and his mother, but also Lee integrating into a new city and what that looks like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Him
was really
meeting
well
Mia,
done.
him coming to, him building that relationship with Victor, which I thought were some of the best scenes in the movie, were the scenes between him and Victor when he was training Victor and he's opening up to Victor, talking about his past and the
Mm-hmm.
situations with his brother, and Victor telling him about how, he gave up boxing and how Mia was a big reason. Those, to me, when Lee is connecting with those characters, are some of the parts where the movie's at its strongest, in my opinion. So I like the fact that they spent the time to set that up and go through those scenes. They took time with that because, like I said, those are the film's strengths.
While we're talking
However,
about
that also,
connections,
you said what?
before you jump on, while we're talking about connections, I just want to talk about Alan
You want to talk about Alan?
because it it felt so like, first of all, the initial introduction to him was fucking hilarious. He had already got punched by Connor, and then he's at the table. He's like, your mom thinks this is going to get you into college, and he's like, yeah, you have no idea. He's like, did she do
She
that
do
to
that to your
you?
face?
So, but then like, they're at the pizza place studying, they're talking, and then like, I didn't see them becoming friends.
that
I
did
I
that caught me by
seen
surprise. I will say that.
I seen Alan as someone a lot older than him,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't mind it. It didn't feel forced. It just, we didn't see much interaction with them. We seen them studying
Mm-hmm.
and them going to the thing and him crashing out because he thought, like, that whole scene was wild at the little whatever festival they were at, because
Oh
you
yeah,
come up
yeah,
with it and you
the
just,
fair,
and she
yeah.
just sitting there like, hold on, hold on, hold on,
Kiki,
hold
and
on.
it's like, hold on, wait a minute.
Hey,
you
hey, listen,
This the
I've been
same
there.
nigga who I was trying to protect you from that gave me a black eye, and now you kikiing with, bro? After you
Listen,
invited me here?
I've been there before. They wasn't done. They were not done.
At
Hey,
all.
and I don't. Again, I I've said this before. I hate when they put like child relationships in movies because
Mm-hmm.
it's always seems weird. And some of the shit that she was saying was, I like that they didn't expand on it. It left people's minds to wonder, but it was
Mm-hmm.
still like, hold the fuck on. She's like, yeah, that bad thing that you just do and you go back to it because it feels good and some shit like that.
I
And
was just
she's
like,
like,
whoa,
that. She's
these
like,
are.
that was not one of them nights. I'm like, what are we talking about right
Yeah, I was like,
now?
what are we referring to here?
Um,
Time out, film. Like, where y'all going
like
with this?
y'all in high school. You're obviously they're at least in the 11th grade because they're taking SATs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening here?
And a
No, I don't
Karate
think you
Kid
took.
movie, no
I
less.
don't
Like this
think
is
you
what we're
take
doing.
SATs until your senior year.
I took it my junior year,
You might
unless
have
I'm
been one.
tripping.
You might be tripping, dog.
Unless
But
I'm
that
tripping.
that I'll try. You can finish your points, man. I'll chime in with what year. But I just thought that was really wild. Like that
Yeah,
whole it was just it that was uncomfortable. And even the way that he kind of lashed out at her was it was out of character for him for what we see of him. It was
yeah, yeah,
very out of character because he is someone that just he talks through shit that we see. I
yeah,
mean, outside of the dealing with a fucking death, he talks through the rest of the things. He's talking to fucking Victor about all this shit very freely. So this just happening, you seeing it, you leaving. We don't see more than what we seen, and it just like I said that scene was uncomfortable for me, and then it was just out of character for him to kind of ignore her and lash out like that.
yeah, yeah. No, I would agree. I think that that part of the film to me in terms of their relationship, there's parts of the film with
You were
Lee
right.
and Mia's relationship that kind of the what you said, what about the
11th grade,
11th?
yeah, yeah.
11? Okay, so I was like, I'm pretty sure it was my junior year when I took it, but there were certain parts of the film where Lee and Mia have like falling outs, and they don't really feel like established. It's like very quick scenes that cause them to just like stop talking to each other.
When he got beat up, when not him but her dad,
Yeah,
and he's
yep,
like standing there shocked. One, they're rushing your dad into the hospital. What the
yep,
fuck am I coming? I know what you would be there for is like for support, but it's
yeah.
like obviously you see him going through some shit,
You can see it in his face that he's not okay.
traumatized.
You can see it in his face that he's clearly experiencing trauma, and she's just like, "Nah, bump you."
So
Granted, she's going through something as well, but
yeah,
it's like just show some grace. Like y'all are all going through some shit right now. Like I wouldn't hold that against him.
right. But then
And it was,
they do that whole scene like the montage of
yeah,
him just going through the cycles, going through the cycles, going through the
hmm,
cycles, and we don't know how much time has passed. How long were they not talking? And then
the film makes it seem like it was a minute though.
yeah, he shows up at the hospital with his uncle, with Jackie Chan, Sifu Han, which I really wish they would have explained is that if that's his actual uncle or if that's just like in Chinese culture they call elders uncles and aunties. I
Mm.
needed more. I need to know.
I assumed biological uncle.
I did too because like nigga, why are you just popping up in my house?
Because even the scene, if you recall, the scene where they show Lee losing his brother, Jackie Chan was in that scene at the end.
But he was their
Like,
coach, so he would
fair
have been
point,
he would have been
fair point.
near the
That is a fair
tournament.
point, actually. Yeah, that is a fair point. But also,
That
him popping up at the crib to me
was
indicates
wild, very wild.
biological. Hopefully, that's your actual family if you're doing that. But no, that is a fair point. That being his coach, that scene alone wouldn't explain it. But him popping up at the crib to me is an indicator. Like, I'm not popping up at nobody's house unless they family. Even if they are family, I'm not popping up at nobody's house. But if I am going to do a pop up, it's family. That's it. It's the only time I'm doing that.
I say I want to do a pop up, but I always call before I go. But like
Yeah.
I might be 5 minutes away and be like, hey,
Be like, hey, I'm about to pull up, like, and
so
then you like damn near at the door.
I don't consider that a pop up. Some people consider that a pop up, but hey,
Yeah, regardless though, like, don't do that unless it's your people's. But I will say for a lot of what we saw going deeper into this film, right? Because to get to the point, like I liked Lee's relationships with the other characters in this film, Victor, Mia, etc. Right? So I don't want to say that the film was wrong for spending the time they did focusing on that because those
right,
are to me the parts of the film where
the better parts.
those are the better parts of the movie to me. But the amount of time you spent on those things and those good character moments made it so that by the time you get to the end and we're supposed to get to the tournament, which is like kind of the point of Karate Kid a little bit, it felt very rushed.
We seen absolutely like all
Like
it was a lot of like quick
it felt so
fights.
rushed. Like
Like
even before you even get to the fight, right? Like we get to, like you said, the scene where Lee and Han are going to visit Victor in the hospital, And Han gives the line, friend's problem is our problem. He's going to participate in the tournament. So now, boom, kind of just out of the blue, we're now going into tournament mode, and the film is now shifting entirely towards that. And there wasn't really like a build up to that. Like, I feel like in the
Yeah.
Karate Kid films I've seen, there was a build up to whatever the final tournament or whatever the final, exhibition was. This kind of felt like, we're building these characters out and their relationships, and then, oh shit, this is a Karate Kid movie. Boom, fast track to the tournament.
Let's
That's
throw some
kind of
shit in
what
there
this,
real quick.
yeah, that's kind of what this third act felt like to me.
Because
Like, it just felt like we were speeding through things.
how many fights did we see with Connor? Like in a tournament, I know we seen a one.
I think we saw at least, I remember at least one before the finals. I feel like we saw at least two with Connor before the finals. Like, like just quick montage fights. Like, I think we did see
Yeah.
two with Connor.
And that, like I said, that's what I would have liked to see a little more fleshed out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, again, and especially, I think my opinion is skewed of the movie because of Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, it was a TV show, so they were allowed to um, take a little more time, flesh out some more of those fights, flesh out some more of those storylines, make it feel
Mm-hmm.
more complete. Um, but again, those fights were just. It's like flash. It felt like a flashback. It was like skis, skis, skis. I did love the transitions though. The
Yeah.
CGI that they would put up during the thing where it kind of animated a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was dope as fuck. Considering we're not seeing a lot of fights. Like, it's again, especially with this fucking tournament, dude. This fucking tournament is supposed to be the biggest, baddest guys of the five girls. They never really specified children, so I thought that was a little weird because we do see them all as children, but that $50,000 prize, it just
Man.
this tournament. Obviously, this is a fake tournament. It feels fake. They've had multiple tournaments in the Karate
Yeah.
Kid movies, in the Cobra Kai TV show. They've had multiple fucking tournaments, and all these tournaments feel real. This shit, this felt like some, this felt like some '80s action movies bullshit. It sounds like
That's
some shit.
actually that's so accurate because literally when they got to the finals and it was Lee and Connor and they did the little fight graphic like this was Street Fighter,
Hmm.
that's where I was like, okay, this does feel very
Bro, they were
over the
fighting
top
on
and
a. I'm
cartoonish. Like,
pretty
this does
sure they
not
were
feel like a
fighting
real
on
tournament.
a fucking helicopter pad.
Yes, they were fighting on that.
On top of like a 50-story building. So like
Yes.
literally like Street Fighter. And it had a scoreboard up there. It's just what the fuck is happening right now?
It felt very to me. That's not even the most cartoonish part. The most cartoonish part was right after Lee. I think it was the fight to advance him to the finals. The fight to advance him to the finals. So now Connor knows he's facing Lee. And O'Shea, in his "I want to be a mob boss so bad" way,
Says people
even
to
though I'm just a
fight this
karate
kid.
dojo instructor, I really want to be a mob boss. Right after the fight, in broad daylight, in front of all these witnesses,
Refs again.
in front of the refs, everybody, I'm gonna send my goons to go jump Lee. What?
Again, this hundred. What he
What?
say? He said 125 pounds. So 125-pound kid. You sent because three guys. I think two guys came out of the front. It was anywhere between 4 to 5 guys that came to
Yes.
fight them. Which I don't.
Yes.
You seen his senseis there. If he can fight like that, you should assume they know how to fight as well.
Literally, the only reason that happened is because they were writing the script and said, we need an excuse for Daniel Russo and Jackie Chan to fight.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Oh, you
it.
got that shit, y'all.
I do not got that shit. Don't
No,
let this man lie to you.
no,
Oh,
but like
no.
seriously, man, that shit that. And again, this goes to my point. This goes to my point of the adults in this movie are trash
Yeah.
because $50,000 is a lot of money. People will do some crazy things for $50,000. But sorry, y'all just attacked these kids. We have to postpone this tournament.
Like, we
This is
have to.
dangerous.
Are we
Like,
just going to address the fact that, like, four grown looking men just tried to jump a child?
and Where was the ref?
Nowhere. The script told the ref to leave.
Who
That's where the
was
ref
who
was.
was the officiating parties? Like, well, he's the
The
officiating
script
party, but
told
like,
the ref to stay out of it. The
where was
script
the
said ref.
announcers? Where was the who was funding this tournament that you were able to rent out all these spaces?
Like the most random places too. We like parking garages.
And then
Like it's
give
just
nigga in New York City, you rent out a whole floor of a parking garage. You know how much money that is? How much money
they
they
had
would
this
have made
tournament in
from
some of
that?
the most random spots. Very random spots.
So like that's what I was just saying. Everything about the movie just if this shit would have took place, if this Karate Kid came out in the '80s, it probably would have fucking it would have been amazing. It would have
It
been
would have fit
amazing.
because it would have fit with the other weird 80s cartoon type action. But
But now it like it really
yeah.
is. Some of this shit was very comical, and
Yeah.
it wasn't comical how they meant it to be comical.
Yeah. No, definitely agree. To me, like that's why when you say this feels like two movies, that's kind of where that comes into play for me, because the first two acts of this film feel very grounded and heartfelt, and then the third act just feels like off the rails a little bit. And there's like parts of the third act where they try to reel it in and make it a little more grounded, but then the next scene is off the rails again. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really stay consistent. That's where I say the pacing kind of goes like this is really in the third act. Is where that's the most prevalent, where it just feels kind of all over the place. And I agree with you with the tournament. I like the fact that the fights were broken up. It wasn't like back to back to back to back. So it felt a little more, that part helped it feel a little more grounded. But then when you see, okay, round two's in a parking garage, round two's on top of a 60-story building on a helicopter pad, and we're gonna have the fight graphic come up like this is a fighting game. You know what I'm saying? In the mid 90s, that stuff like that is where it kind of just starts to lose me a little bit. But by that point, I feel like I had gotten everything I needed out of this movie.
Well, even
So
the boxing fight where they're walking in.
mhm.
It was like a pretty upscale club, but then like niggas is in there with t-shirts. O'Shea got a fucking jogging suit on, of course, and then this lady over here is in a fucking cocktail dress. What's the fucking dress code here?
You were saying it was a little too all over the place for you.
It was and that was the movie. I guess it was all over the
Yeah,
place. It was two movies put together, and it felt like they may have had two full movies at one point, and then they shortened it.
yeah, yeah.
Listen, I don't know if Hillary Swank said, "Hey, I'm not fucking with y'all no more. I don't want to do that." I don't know if Jaden Smith was even offered the role, if they
Probably not.
or if he said,
We
"Hey,
go on a limb and say no.
I'm not fucking with y'all. I'm not coming back." But I feel like that nostalgia would have went a lot more with one or both of those characters. I think
Yeah,
she may have been a better fit than um than Larusso, and I only say that because she was the last one.
yeah,
She was the last one to be trained by him.
yeah.
So it would have fit because that was around the time. So it was just it was all over the place. I felt like as a fan, especially watching this last Karate Kid or the Cobra Kai series and seeing all the other actors returning and all the callbacks that they did for the movie, I just felt like we could have got a glimpse of it. It
Hmm.
could have opened up with fucking maybe Jaden Smith was in the school somewhere. Like I don't fucking know because he was from New York.
Yeah.
He was from New York. He went to China. He was from
You're
China.
saying
He
at
went to
least
New
like a
York.
reference to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it just but all in all, man, the two stories thing. I think that may have been the worst part for me.
yeah. I would agree. I think there's parts where this film does feel very like separate in terms of tones and what they're trying to accomplish. Like I said, one, there's parts of this movie that are very, very grounded and very heartfelt and very character driven. And then there's parts of this movie that feel like literally straight out of a comic book, just in terms of how over the top it gets and kind of unbelievable in certain aspects. So the film does kind of fight itself a little bit on those 2 points, but all in all, it wasn't, the negative aspects weren't enough for me to not enjoy my time here. Like I
Mm-hmm.
still had a decent time watching this, but to go back to the point I made to start this video, I just don't feel like it was needed. I feel like I'm to the point where with certain franchises, and I'm not necessarily like this with Karate Kid too much. I wasn't like this until Karate Kid until I saw this movie was coming out, and I'm like, all right, now y'all like the Jaden Smith one was okay, but now we're kind of getting into that territory of like y'all doing too
I
much now.
really want to disagree with you because when I found out they were making the Karate Kid Legends, I was
Mm-hmm.
so fucking excited.
Okay,
And after seeing this movie, I'm like, yeah, they could have kept again.
they could have kept that. They could have
They
kept
could
that.
have ended this with. I think Cobra Kai was so much more compelling with their
That's another
characters.
reason though too is you granted once again haven't watched Cobra Kai, but I've seen the reviews of Cobra Kai and I know people who have watched it who rave about this show. So if that is indeed what the reviews say it is, and that's a great conclusion to this story or this franchise, I think I'm always of the mindset that if you've ended something well, leave it alone. That's why I am against the John Wick 5. Like I am of the mindset when you have a great ending to something and you concluded a story in a perfect way, leave it. Just
And,
leave it unless you truly have something that you feel like is so compelling and so great that it's really going to drive the story forward. I don't think Karate Kid Legends was that.
and this is the thing when when Cobra Kai ended, all of the kids in the Cobra Kai series, they're for the most part going to college,
Hmm.
but he still has new students, or he has old students rather that aren't seniors going to college, even the ones that are in college. I was expecting at least one of his students to come out with him and help him train
Yeah.
because you knew what you were going out there to do.
Hmm.
I thought it was kind of odd that they didn't have him sparring anyone to get ready for a fucking karate tournament.
He was sparring adults.
And, and he wasn't really even sparring with him. He's more
Yeah.
getting his ass kicked.
Literally just they were
So
just testing out moves on him. Like, oh,
yeah,
what if he did this? Boom. What if he did
so
this? Boom. Like, oh, look, he
actually
assaulting this kid.
actually giving him an opponent to fight, knowing that um, they should be more skilled than him,
Hmm.
and how to actually counter some of this karate because they're not going to make the same mistakes that or I'm sorry, the adults are not going to make the same mistakes that the kids are making.
Hmm.
So put him in the ring with one of these kids, let them spar, let him get a feel of it. He was just thrown into it.
Yeah.
I ain't got I don't have much else, man. I'm sure it's some other things that I'd love to say about this movie, but I enjoyed myself, I guess. It was
Yeah,
just
I had a decent time, but it was whatever. I'll go ahead and give my rating on this one. It's really I was teetering between the rating I have and a lower one, but kind of speaking on this movie and kind of remembering a lot of the more positive aspects of it, which to me outweigh the negatives, I'll comfortably give it a 6.
ooh.
Yeah.
You want to go
I'll
lower.
I,
See,
I wanted to go lower, but I was like speaking on this movie and kind of remembering the parts of this that I did enjoy because I walked out of the theater going that wasn't that bad. It wasn't good. It wasn't all that, but it was okay. That was serviceable. So I'll settle in at a 6.
so yesterday walking out of the theater, I said 6.5.
Hmm.
And I think I'm gonna keep that at that 6.5 because, like you said, I really did enjoy the his backstory. His
Yeah.
backstory was good. So I said like he was still practicing kung fu, but you see when he's practicing kung fu back in China, he's by himself. He's just hitting a little
Hmm.
the wing the mannequin, the dummy. He's just hitting it, flowing. Listen to his headphones. Um, they never tell us what he's listening to, which I feel like they should have. Like, just give us some type of, or does he? The nigga just got headphones on. Like I
No,
said,
I
when we
say, or you
watch
could just have everyone though.
Into the Spider Verse, Miles Morales put them fucking headphones in. We get a soundtrack. We get a beat.
Speaking of the soundtrack, whoever put Eric B and Rakim in this movie, shout out to them.
New York, dog.
Hey, shout out. When I heard that beat, I'm like, I know that ain't what I think it is. Hold on
It's New
now.
York. So, um, like I said, I like the story. I like his backstory. Um, we see the relationship with his mother. We don't really see a lot that like we should, but I get it. We can't put all these relationships in here, but
Yeah.
I think he made he was 100% the best part of this movie.
Yeah.
100%. Outside of that little outburst that he had with Mia, and then they immediately made up. Like I thought his character was really well done. Fighting that trauma from watch losing his brother, feeling helpless, to training Victor and watching what happened to him and feeling helpless. Knowing that one, this dude just punched you in your fucking face and you ain't do shit. I was kind of surprised at that too. But then when you actually do fight, and this move that you think I don't know why he thought he perfected that shit that fast either.
Like
But
he just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just try and see what happens." Like,
but
well,
that fucking kick to the face by Connor, I was like, oh shit, this nigga Connor is ruthless. But
yeah, I'm like,
that right
that's
there,
why he the back to back champ. Got it.
but even that, man, it was like, all right, shit, like he really going through it, bro. He's going through all of this shit at the same time, and that's when Uncle pull up to tell him, like, bro, yeah, you gonna get knocked down, but this is teaching you to get back up, to stand on your
Hmm.
own feet, and to keep getting back up. So I really enjoyed his character. I enjoyed it was they kind of had a few little emotional parts in there too, man.
Yes.
I didn't, but I'm gonna stick with my 6'5", man. I would have preferred if this would have went straight to streaming. Then
Yeah, that's kind of what this movie feels like. This kind of does feel like a cool straight to streaming, get the family together and have a family night type of movie, which is fine. But I just don't need that for Karate Kid. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even want to
But
say that.
I've
I want to
noticed,
say this Karate Kid.
yeah, but also I will say that has been kind of like a trend lately of like older franchises being put on streaming. I mean, we did just get another Beverly Hills Cop, right? So,
And you
um
seen, was
I
that good to you?
I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know.
It was
But I'm
very
just
okay. Watching a fucking
I feel like that's kind of the trend here with these type of these films. They're either bad or
watching
okay.
a aging Eddie Murphy. He would have been in forced retirement at this point. But
Yeah. But yeah, I'm comfortable. I think both of us kind of stuck in the 6.5 range of like this movie was okay, it was fine. I just didn't need it, and you know what I'm saying. It just didn't. It wasn't needed as far as the Karate Kid title being put on it. But that's what
I
we get when you're a franchise and you're trying to get money and you just trying to throw a name on something to recoup whatever you spent to make it. I get
and
it,
I
but
think I would have loved it a lot more if I hadn't seen Cobra Kai first. It,
I think
I
that's probably a factor here. Me
that's
not seeing Cobra Kai, I'm viewing it probably through a different
because
lens.
I wanted to go lower to a 6. I felt 5'5" was disrespectful, and
Yeah,
I gotta
as I was talking about, I was like 5.5 is a little too
you
low.
know what, I gotta stop saying that though. I feel like I'm really giving movies a higher thing because I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but that's how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, if they disrespected your time and made you pay money to see it and you ain't like it, I feel like that's disrespectful. So disrespect can be met with disrespect, personally. But yeah,
That's facts,
I'm gonna I'm gonna say we didn't need this one.
and
Personally,
I'm going to
I'm
agree.
very
And I really
yeah.
don't want to, but I'm going to agree.
When I'm right, I'm right. You know what I'm saying? When
Doesn't
I'm right,
happen
I'm right.
often, but when it happens,
Every now and again, you know what I'm saying? I might
man.
know what I'm talking about. But let us know you all's thoughts on Karate Kid Legends. Are you like us? Do you feel like this movie wasn't necessary? Or did you enjoy it? And are you looking forward to more Karate Kid properties in the future? Doesn't even have to be a movie, maybe another TV show. Let us know you all's thoughts. Continue to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the support. And until next time, it's the Real Junkies. Peace.